Today we're going to talk about a worrisome concept, a history-changing conquest, a songwriter, a bit of space history, and of course a song. So sit back, relax, and let's see what's shakin' for October 14th. Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for October 14th. October 14th is the 287th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 288th in leap years, with 78 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is ecophobia. Remembering that phobia at the back of a word refers to an irrational fear of whatever is mentioned in the first part of the word, what would ecophobia mean? Eco, or eco, is a word-forming element that generally means habitat or environment. We see it all over the place these days in such words as ecological, ecosystem, ecosphere, and even economic or economical, and it has to do with environment or where one lives. In fact, the word part eco comes from the ancient Greek word oikos, where it meant house, home, family. In fact, the word economics originally referred to the concept of household management. Over time, the meaning of economics evolved, expanding to mean something more like national management of economic resources. A little side trip there. So, eco, home environment or habitat, and phobia, fear of or about a thing, and the word ecophobia can refer to an irrational fear or aversion to nature or fear of one's home. Interestingly, in recent years, ecophobia has also taken on meaning as an overwhelming fear of ecological problems like air pollution or climate change. Some people may have a genetic predisposition to anxiety or phobic disorders. Others may develop ecophobia as a learned response to perceived ecological threats. Earliest documented use of the word ecophobia is fairly recent, the late 1980s, and is often credited to a 1988 op-ed article in the Chicago Sun-Times by George F. Will titled "The Politics of Ecophobia." Interesting. In today's research, I also discovered that there's a book about the subject called Beyond Ecophobia, Reclaiming the Heart in Nature Education by David Sobel, and that looks interesting. If you're curious about that book, you can see if your library has a copy, or I've placed an Amazon affiliate link to it in the description. Interesting topic, ecophobia. Today's word ecophobia was suggested by YouTube viewer at T. Ramsire. Thanks, Teresa. That was an interesting one to research. And with that, the Norman conquest of England began with the Battle of Hastings on October 14 in the year 1066. This was an invasion and occupation by an army of Western European troops led by the Duke of Normandy, who later came to be known as William the Conqueror. He would go on to rule until his death almost 21 years later at the age of 59. This is the birthday of musician and songwriter Justin Hayward. Born October 14, 1946 in Swindon, Wiltshire, England, he's best known as the frontman for the Moody Blues from the time the group formed in 1966 until it disbanded in 2018, and was the group's most prolific songwriter for several of those years. As of 2023, he's still touring, has a website if you'd like more information. Justin Hayward. The first live television broadcast by American astronauts in orbit was performed by the Apollo 7 crew on October 18, 1968. Today's song is Nights in White Satin by the Moody Blues. Written by Justin Hayward when he was only 19 years old, Nights in White Satin was originally released as a single in 1967 and again in 1972. The song did much better in its second release and has charted again a few times over the years. Beautiful song, Nights in White Satin, and I imagine that people of a certain age heard it in their minds just like I did when they saw the title. Nights in White Satin, link in the description. Now, if you're wondering why didn't I mention Dwight D. Eisenhower, or the Cuban Missile Crisis, or the Chicago Cubs, I have talked about all those and more in previous episodes for October 14th, and you can find those episodes in the playlist of episodes for this day in history. I also have a playlist of single subjects called How About That, and words of the day in a playlist called There's a Word for That, and I'll leave links to all those playlists for you in the description. Alrighty, have an awesome week. Outtakes in 3, 2, 1. If you're wondering why didn't I mention Dwight D. Eisenhower, and I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with the link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Alrighty, back to work. I think we got it this time.